to be here and to have received this award, and how humbled I am to have received it with all of the other recipients who have truly touched me, and I'm very grateful to be entering the nursing field with them. So I was really shocked when Mark called me and said that I got the award, because I truly had the worst interview that I think I've ever had. I was running late in Atlanta traffic, and which is horrible, way worse than Statesboro, where I go to school at Georgia Southern. And by the time I literally ran into the building, and I was sweating, and I was shaking, and I was so high-strung. And so when I first walked into the room, they asked me, to tell my story, and I just burst into tears. And it was so embarrassing, and I hope I don't do it again tonight, but I thought I would share it with you again, although you basically know the gist, but coming from me. So in 1 week, it'll be exactly 3 years, that it happened. And when I say it, you're probably thinking something horrible, but truly, losing my life was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I had been diagnosed with Crohn's disease for 3 years, but I was living well and I was managing. And I uprooted myself from Alaska, which everybody thinks is really interesting, to Georgia Southern University. And I don't know if it was being away from home, or the stress of college, or quite possibly the humidity, but it all really got to me. And I had always been incredibly driven and successful as a student and an athlete and a leader. But this time, no matter what I did, how hard I pushed against Crohn's, it pushed me back harder, and I landed flat on my back. That Thanksgiving, I went back to Alaska, and with barely a pulse, dehydrated, malnourished, and in so much pain, I was hospitalized. And the next few weeks were a blur, but I do remember the moment when my doctor looked me in the eye, and he said, amongst all my friends and family surrounding me, and he said, there's nothing more we can do for you. And it was so shocking and scary. I needed surgery, which meant I needed a bigger hospital. The trip to Rochester, Minnesota was one I will never forget. I was being wheeled through the hospital by my nurse with a PICC line hanging from my arm, and Emma's spacing in front of me wearing an adult diaper through this hospital, which, going through the security, they have to pad you down entirely because you're a patient, so clearly that makes sense. And I ended up in Chicago, and there's this huge snowstorm that hit. And so all the flights were canceled. And I ended up in a security storage closet, and there was firemen surrounding me. They were trying to pump IV fluids into me, and I just kept getting sicker and sicker. And the line for a car rental was just immense. But my dad, he went to the front of the line, and he was just weeping. And everybody let him go first. So we got in the car, and we drove 7 hours through a storm that everybody said was not safe to travel in. But we had to get there. And by the time I got to the Mayo Clinic, I was truly scared for my life. But then Maria walked in the room. And she didn't do anything miraculous or magical. She just put her hand on me, and she said, "It's okay. You're here, and we're going to take care of you." And from that moment, I just felt safe and comforted and at peace. And I knew that somehow things were going to be okay. So through the next few weeks, we became friends. And like Betty said, she brought me Golden Girls, and we would walk through the halls when I wouldn't even, I was just so depressed, I wouldn't get out of the bed. I wouldn't even talk to my own parents. But she coaxed me into getting up and walking through the halls, and she just allowed me to talk, and she was just that kind and compassionate heart that really made this horrible experience so much better. And on Christmas Day, she called me. My phone rang and she called me, and she just wished me Merry Christmas. And she was off on vacation with her family. And I thought, that is a true nurse. But it wasn't just the hospital and Maria that changed me. Over the weeks leading up to Christmas, my stepmother started making these little angel ornaments and out of little cupcake papers. And she would fill up these trees, and she would take them to my nurses and my doctors and other patients and anyone in the hospital who she met who looked like could use some uplifting. And weeks went on, and I'm telling you, weeks. And after Christmas, she kept going, stocking up for next year, I suppose. She just kept going. And I thought to my room is covered in hot glue strings and, like, you know, gold and glitter and other things. And I just thought to myself, enough already. Stop. Why don't you just stop? But looking back, I realized why she never stopped. Because like Betty said, the universe never stops putting angels on our trees. Everyone in this room is an angel for somebody. And you all have your own angels. And it's a cycle that just keeps going on, and I realized that this Christmas. I had so many people caring for me, praying for me, sending me words of love and hope, and Maria. She was an angel. And I knew then that I wanted to spend the rest of my life spreading that light that was given to me. So after New Year's, I was finally released, and I recovered. And I was still weak, but my spirits had never been higher, and I knew that I was on a different path, and I was going to do something with my life that was so much bigger than business, like I was majoring in to begin with. So I transferred into Georgia Southern. I kept my 4.0. I got into nursing school, and I started this whole new life. I've been hospitalized several other times since then, but I went from losing all my muscle mass in the hospital to training for a half marathon and running and raising $3,000. I volunteered at a camp for kids with chronic and life-threatening illnesses, and then last summer I was fortunate to be able to work there the entire summer. And that was the most inspiring summer of my life. The strength within these kids was just out of this world. I was fortunate enough to work on top of our 40-foot rock wall, and where I got to coach these kids from the bottom where they were so scared and they didn't think they could do it, all the way to the top, and then I got to send them down the zip line, so from absolute fear to literally flying. And that was a joy. That was so fantastic. I made it my goal that summer to really make a difference, and I know that I did. I received a letter. All the kids wrote a lot of notes, but there was this one girl in particular who, she was diagnosed with a pretty serious illness, and she was also kind of developmentally delayed because she had been adopted from Africa, and so she was behind in school. And she didn't really feel comfortable at camp with all the rest of the girls, but I made it my mission to make her feel like she belonged there. We ended up talking, and she told me that she wanted to be a doctor. And when I asked her, well, do you think you can do it? She was just like, well, I don't know. Well, she sent me a letter a couple weeks later, and it was a picture of her, and it's the sweetest thing. And in it, she said, "You made a big change in my life this summer. You taught me to believe in myself, and I'll never forget you." And I mean, what could be a better job than that, seriously? I always told the campers a Winnie the Pooh quote that I really like, and it was, "You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think." And I just made sure they all lived by that over the week. But my favorite part of camp didn't come from anything that I said. We were all sitting under the stars, me and my cabin, and it was during Crohn's week, which was really special to me, obviously because I have Crohn's. And I asked the girls if you could wish upon a star, what would you wish for? And they all sat and they thought. And then finally one of them said, I know I should wish that I didn't have this disease, but honestly I wouldn't, because it's made me who I am. And it's made me stronger, and it's given me all these experiences that I wouldn't have been given. And it brought me to tears, because that's what I wanted to tell them all this time. But they already knew it, because they were just that strong. At the end of the week, our cabin prepared a song to sing at the closing ceremony. And I'm not going to sing it, so don't get excited, but some of you may know it. It's from Wicked, and it's called For Good. And whenever I hear these lyrics, it just brings me to tears, so I'm just going to read them for you. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made from what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now, whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. That's what nursing is to me. It's a chance to chase somebody for the good. We don't exactly get to choose when life is going to knock us down, but we do get to decide what we'll do when we get back up. I believe that one person can make the difference. I'm not perfect in any way, and I'm not a saint, and I truly just feel lucky to be where I am today and be given all that I've been given. And all I want to do is spread that life. I want to make a difference. I want to be someone's angel. So every Christmas since then, I've gotten my friends together and we've made the same angel trees. So, and we go and we deliver them to the hospital where I was originally hospitalized, and on Christmas Eve, and we carol, and it's a really special thing for me. So I decided to start early this year, and Jean asked me to. So I brought a tree, and I would like to give it to the committee and the family, and I'll leave it up to Jean who else gets one. But anyways, just thank you so much for this opportunity. It is a real honor to be here and to be with all of you, and we're all angels. You're all angels, so thank you.
Okay, now we'd like all of the winners to please come stand up at the front here and get their